which is called the direction. And so I'll show you what that means. Essentially, it tells you whether your inference is aligned or opposite to what causality. I'll give a example on both cases. It could be aligned with causality, which means it's a forward inference, or you're trying to infer what has caused this condition that is opposite to the causality direction. So that's what called backward inference. I'll show you some examples of both. So the first example, if you know for sure machine H1 has been compromised by an attacker, you can use that fact to infer that, okay, if machine H1 is compromised, then I know possibly the attacker can use this machine H1 to probe. This is a malicious probe, like trying to figure out something on the other machine H2, another machine H2. And so compromised H1 can infer probe on the machine from H1 to H2. What is the direction of inference? This is a forward inference because the attacker will have to first compromise H1. That will cause him to do a second step of probing another machine. Yes? And there was a...
No, I didn't raise my hand. I was just pointing at the speaker.
Okay. This is a forward inference. So the direction of the arrow is aligned with causality and is also aligned with time. If the left-hand side causes the right-hand side, then the right-hand side can happen no earlier than the left-hand side. So that can be useful when you have timestamp equation to correlate this. So what is the strength of this inference? As I indicated in my talk just now, possible. Right? So whether an attacker will choose to probe or not, it's completely up to him. This is just attacker's choice. And it's a low confidence inference. Possibly he will probe other machines. I don't know what he will choose to do. So this is a low confidence qualifier here. Second example. If you know for sure an attacker has sent an exploit, like for buffer overflow, for example, from machine H1 to machine H2, we can infer that, okay, if that is true, then machine H2 may be compromised because someone is trying to send an exploit to H2. If H2 has this vulnerability, then H2 will get compromised. This is again a forward inference. Or the mode I put as likely. Why? Because an attacker typically does not blindly send out an exploit. He likely will first figure out that this service is running there. It is vulnerable by the version number that he can see. And he probably will also make sure his exploit will work before he really uses it against a production system. That's what a hacker typically does. But there's no guarantee that an exploit will always work. If you have any chance trying to hack into a service, writing a buffer overflow exploit, it's not always guaranteed to work. You have to be lucky at some time to guess right some parameters in your exploit to make sure all the code can execute successfully. So there's always a chance that it may fail, but we assume that that's a less likely event than this. So likely this machine will be compromised and this exploit will succeed. Okay. Third example, if machine H2 is compromised, then you can use a backward inference to think about, okay, what could have caused the machine being compromised by an attacker? Right? Well, it could be that somebody has sent an exploit to it from H1. If you look at these two rules are just swap the order of left-hand side and right-hand side. So that gives you a backward inference. If you want to figure out what has happened before that has led to this condition, that you have a backward inference. And what is the strength of this inference? Well, not very high, because many ways can lead to a compromise of the machine. It could be social engineering or something else. Right? Somebody sending an exploit is just one of those possibilities. You don't know. You have a lower quality confidence here. Okay. A second example of a backward inference. If you know for sure somebody is doing a malicious probing from H1 to H2, if this is true, then backward inference, you can tell, definitely H1 has to be compromised. Otherwise, how can an attacker probe another machine from H1? So in this backward inference, you have a certain mode. So everyone like this? Or agree with it? I mean, there's no way that you have to agree with this. This gives you a language that you can use to specify what you believe will be a useful tactic or knowledge in reasoning about these uncertain events. And this can be shared among different organizations, and people can use it on their own system and see how it works. So you have this internal model, and we have all this mapping. Now, the reasoning part. So how can you use these maps, alert, and this relation between those internal conditions to reason about these things and what really has happened on my network? So there are two parts of the reasoning. The first part is very simple. It's called simple reasoning. If you look at every rule in the observation correspondence or internal model, they are just logical inference rules. You can just use the inference rules on input observation to try to derive new facts. And the mode, the confidence level will be used to tell you what is the confidence of the eventual fact you derive. And we take the weakest link. So if you have a possible in one of those chains, then you only have a possible at the end. This is called simple reasoning. It's just doing alert correlation in this way. Nothing really can help you a lot, since if you think about this, the simple reasoning can always give you a lower quality conclusion than the input observation can give you. So take the weakest link along this chain. So what we really want to have is, how can we use this correlation, this proof chain? These are all the possible ways that these hypotheses and observations can be correlated. Based on that, how can we strengthen your belief on certain facts? Does this inference give us a better picture or not? That's the most important part. That's what we call it proof strengthening. We have a whole bunch of proofs. These are the facts that can be derived. These are their proofs. How can I use the proof to say, oh, based on these proofs, I will believe this fact is much more likely to be the case than the other? That's what we are interested in. So let me give you some example of this strengthening. I think I'm missing well, that's fine. So let's first go through the simple reasoning. The simple reasoning is just, as I said, applying the rules on facts. If you have a fact like we had in the very simple true life instance, you have memory dump showing RLC socket between those two machines, and that matches the left-hand side of this observation correspondence rule. And this rule can fire. It can derive the right-hand side, and I can know, you can say this machine, these two machines are likely exchanging control actually based on the likely mode here. Okay. Likely, you can also use the internal model as inference rule to do simple reasoning. So this is what we have just derived. We know from the memory dump RLC socket, we know this likely these two machines are exchanging control messages. We will also have this internal rule saying, if you know for sure these two machines are exchanging control messages, then you can say, certainly this one of them has been compromised by attackers. Well, this is the backward inference. And again, the left-hand side matches what you have at hand. So you can fire, you can get one new fact, compromise H1. Well, you take the weakest link along the proof chain that you have a likely here. So you have C in the rule, but you also have a likely in the previous part of the derivation tree to take the weaker one, which is likely. Now you know likely this machine has been compromised by an attacker. Not very high confidence, it's a moderate level of confidence. So how can we do proof strengthening? The simple reason, like the one I showed you before, gives you many proofs to work with. These are all the possible correlations. They are all low quality, even lower than the input observations. But now you may find out a situation where you have two independent proof paths. By independent, what I mean here is they are based on disparate observations and distinct proof derivation paths. But they end at the same conclusion, F. And maybe both the modes are both likely, for example. Or in that case, you may be able to strengthen your belief because you have complementary evidence that say this fact F is likely true. And we strengthen it.